Music has been around for centuries. The first known musical instrument, the Devabe flute, dates back to 40,000 years ago. How many of you have played an instrument, like singing, or interested in learning how? Each one of you who raised your hand have been or will be involved in musical training. In today's world, music is a big part of our lives and culture. When we take up practicing and learning a musical instrument, it does more than just the skill. I've played the violin since I was 3 and the piano since I was 11. Having been in musical training myself and done research through sources such as PubMed Central and Weber.org, I am able to provide credible knowledge on this topic. Music training. The practice and learning of music affects the development of our minds by improving our brain power and changing behavioral habits. To get started, what are different parts of music training and what does it involve? Music training involves different ways of practice. It doesn't just involve playing an instrument, it also involves listening to music, note reading, and music theory. Listening to music helps with ear training and hearing the correct notes. Music theory is the study of musical language. According to June and Bishop, music theory has elements that construct a piece of music, including notation, key signatures, time signatures, and chord progressions. For music to have an impact, the learner has to practice repeatedly. In most scenarios, there will be a one-on-one lesson with a music teacher. They work with the student weekly to help guide them on their goals for practicing the music. The student takes what they learn and from the teacher and practices daily to comprehend and engrave it into their brain. Daily practice is important for the student to make sure they are learning the music correctly. Moving forward, I'm going to discuss what the effects music training has on the brain itself. As part of musical training, listening to music has an effect on the brain's abilities. Some of these skills include pitch discrimination, deciphering one tone or note from another, auditory memory, such as memorizing a song or learning how to play by ear, and selective hearing to help pull out specific tunes and notes in the music, all of which have an effect on the developing brain structure. Stated in frontsin.org, listening to music requires certain perceptual abilities as well as its affective components and engages a distributed network of brain structures. According to Iwa M. and Wibeke Trost, a study was done and found that neuroimagining revealed plastic changes in the brains of adult musicians. Hence, musician brain cells have more connections, also known as neuroplasticity. To get a sense of what this means, some other ways you can increase neuroplasticity is by taking a class, learning a new language, reading a book, or reducing stress. Having more brain connections leads to a healthier, stronger brain and improves your brain power. It also has been shown that practicing music heightens sound sensitivity in the developing brain. This leads to the student having better skills in verbal and reasoning situations. Studies in the domain of auditory cognitive neuroscience have begun revealing the functional and structural brain plasticity underlying these effects. Of practicing music, these effects on the brain shapes the way our brain grows, and the connections in your brain can only get stronger. As well as having an effect on the brain connections cognitively, it also has an effect on the brain emotionally. How musical training affects cognitive development stated, musically induced emotions involve very similar brain regions that are also implicated in non-musical basic emotions, such as the reward system, insula, and orbifrontal cortex. So what is the difference that practicing music makes on behavioral and intellectual skills? Practicing an instrument teaches the learner effective techniques on how to learn something. Music training involves different techniques like sight reading, listening to music, scale and interval practice, etc., each of which allows the student to learn different ways and techniques to comprehend the music and put it into practice. Learning an instrument does make a difference on the student's cognitive abilities, including speech perception and the ability to understand emotions in the voice and ability to handle multiple tasks simultaneously. The techniques that music training teaches can be applied to things outside of music, like work and school. When studying other subjects, the student will be in the habit of using music training techniques to study repeatedly until the lesson becomes permanent in their minds. Music training and practicing an instrument also teaches the student that they won't learn it perfectly on the first try. It takes work and time to learn something new and to cooperate with and how to cooperate with others. They learn responsibility techniques that they can use throughout their life. To conclude, the practice of music through ear training, playing an instrument, and music theory has a significant impact on developing minds, which affects daily life skills. Through the practice and learning of an instrument, it improves the mind by increasing brain plasticity or the neuron connections, which help the cognitive skills used in daily life. So if you decide to take up an instrument or already play one, now you know the impact music training has on your mind.